Welcome to an episode of Vidhi, Footprints and Sands of Time. This is a tale of survivors and achievers.
Hi, welcome to the podcast series by Mukha. And our first guest for today is Miss Kirtana. Hi, Kirtana. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for
An
having me.
absolute honor to have you, Kirtana. Thanks for doing this for us and for many more who are going to listen to this.
It's great to be here. No.
Perfect. So, Kirtana is a biomedical engineer and she specializes in optic research, which is she is studying in Singapore right now. She did her undergraduation here and post-graduation in Singapore. Can you just tell us how your life was before a small incident happened that we got to know you from there?
Okay. Yeah, like you said, I did my bachelor's in biomedical engineering, and this was before my accident, the incident. So, yeah. And after that, I was supposed to go for master's. I had got my admit, and after this, the incident happened. So, because of which I was delayed by 6 months, but not much to lose. Yeah. So, after 6 months, I started my master's course, and as of now, I've completed masters and got a job. So that is a good thing, I think.
Excellent. We are so proud of you. I should also tell you guys that she's a model, she's a dancer, and an excellent human being, and we're so proud to know you. I just want to go back to a few years ago when we got a call from the hospital saying there's a girl who just had an accident in the car and they were all going out with friends to a trip. And then we said, okay, we're going to rush immediately go see her. And when we saw there was an injury in the face, which mainly involved her eyes, and we said, no, this has to be taken up immediately. And we went through a rigorous course of planning about how we're going to reconstruct her face. And the next day, the immediate early morning, we took her up and did the surgery and got everything back in place, did the facial reconstruction, the eye, and got her back completely on the road to recovery. As they always say, and our mentor Dr Girish Rao always says, healing is mainly done by the patients and we are just the facilitators, and we are so proud of Kirtana that she's healed beautifully.
Absolutely. So, Kirtana, what was running through your head as and when this happened?
So, yeah. I mean, we were going for a trip, so little did we expect something to go wrong. So, during that time, I think it's obvious I blanked out when that happened. And the next thing I knew, I was being taken to a hospital. So, it was pretty dark, I must say. So, yeah, but after that, as soon as I saw the doctor, I saw Girish Rao, and he just, first thing he said to me was, don't worry, when are you starting your masters? And I said, next month. He's like, I'll get you ready by then. I'm like, okay, that's positivity, but I know that might not happen. Actually, even right after the accident, even though I was a little unhappy or sad about it, but there was never a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to give up. So even right after the accident, I knew that something is wrong with my face, but I knew I could survive, I could breathe, I could do everything normally. So I was like, maximum the face is injured, and I knew I could get that back any day. So even from the beginning, I never lost hope as such. But definitely when I saw my face, I was very devastated, and I thought, and being I used to model at least. And after that, I was doubtful if I would ever get back to that. But once I spoke to the doctors and I realized that I could get back at least 50%, 60%, and I was okay with it. So this was before the surgery, I think, and after the surgery, definitely my face was swollen, and there were 2 months it was not getting okay. I was doing everything as instructed, but it was not fine. So I was a little demotivated. But again, it just kept me going. One more good thing that happened was not such a good thing, but it was with my best of friends. So we all were recovering together, and that itself was a main motivation for me. We all had to do it together and come out of it together. I think that was the main motivation.
Absolutely. Friends can be such a huge source of strength and inspiration, isn't it?
So, a lot of people going through this phase of their lives, I hope a lot of people don't go through it, but we see a lot of people going through it. And you said you were hopeful. At the same time, from whatever we could understand from the way you spoke about it, there was also an acceptance that I need to go ahead with my life. So what was your source of comfort and what was your source of motivation to get up each morning, to do the things right? And sometimes we know that these recoveries take pretty long. It's a slow recovery. It's sometimes at a snail pace. So what kept you going?
Um, I would say, I mean, the ideal answer I think would say career. I wanted to get back to my career or whatever, but that's actually not what was in my head, because I had wonderful people around me, like my family, my friends, my like doctors, everyone, your team, everything. They were all so great and like pushing me positively. It was almost like I just had to do a small thing for them. Like I didn't even feel that it was that difficult a thing. That was what was like very motivating. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Perfect. What was your social life before this, and did anything change after?
Actually, not really. Social life, especially because it never really affected my emotional aspect of me, I must say. So initially, maybe like 6 months, 7 months, I wasn't confident about how I looked, and I had that issue initially, but I knew it was a short phase. I knew everything would heal if I worked towards it. So right now, as of today, if I have to say, there is not much change in my social life. I'm still equally confident. I'm okay.
That's amazing.
What were the small things that you feel that you did right? Could be real small things, it could be small little routines, we all have our small little comfort things to do that we do every day that keeps us awake and that keeps us alive. So what were your small little things?
During the time, actually, I started a new practice. I was listening to Mahabharata podcasts, because I was instructed not to watch anything, watch a blue screen because of my injury. And again, not much interaction with my friends, and because of the infections that it could cause. So one main thing that I newly started that like kept me going was listening to mythological stories on podcasts, because it wouldn't affect my eye. I think that is one practice that I started then. And other small things, there are a lot of small things I think during this journey, because even smallest of things like gargling every 2 hours, or doing the exercises that was given to me, even these things, like every time I did it, I knew I'm doing it for something. So these were small things that I did it day to day, no matter if I like it or not, or things like that.
I'm sure it was not likable at first, so you had to do it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are sailing across such similar incidences, maybe. Is there any mantra that you would like to share with them?
I was just remembering that there's this Mrityunjaya Homa mantra, if you've heard. So even right after the accident, when I was going into the OT, I was a little afraid, and I was only afraid about feeling the pain of the surgery. I was okay with whatever is done, but I was scared of the pain. So I was scared if I'll feel the anesthesia. So during that time also, my mom, just before I went into the OT, she was saying, just chant this until you fall asleep. So since then I started it, the Mrityunjaya Homa mantra. So just before I went into the OT and after, whenever I felt like, I used to be alone in the ICU also sometimes. So whenever I felt low or something that I'm not strong enough, I used to say that mantra. So that is one thing I have to
Perfect.
share.
That is a real mantra. But is there a life, like a life mentoring thing that you want to tell people? Or somebody at your age, in 20s, young, bubbling with enthusiasm, want to go out, explore the world, and something that is a small setback. Maybe not a setback. They say that you pull the arrow back, that is the same strength at which it goes forward. I think that's happened the same thing with you. So is there anything that you would like to share and tell people of maybe similar age of you who's maybe had a small setback, and you know what, just go through it?
Actually, I think in general, this is not the only thing that can go wrong in life also. There are a lot of things that can happen. And I as far as I felt this was actually something manageable. This was something I could heal and I could come out of any day, and it was in my hands entirely. So that is one thing that was always like, I would say to anyone also that it's in your hands end of the day. So something that's in your hands is always solvable, and getting out of it is easy. So I think that's one thing. And at this age, we have the energy to do it. We don't have anything to lose. We don't have responsibilities to like look after or something. And it's just about us, and we can easily come out of it. So that is one thing I think at my age especially people should know.
It's a beautiful answer. I mean, respect. So when such a thing happens to someone, they either shell inward and go reclusive, or they take the bull by the horns and say, oh, come life, whatever you throw at me, I'm going to hit you out of the park. So, what is your perception of life? And how would you see yourself? How would you look at yourself in the mirror every day? Do you see a survivor in front of you in a mirror? Or do you see a conqueror, a warrior? How would you look at yourself? And what is the perception of life that you have?
I think there are days when I feel I am just a survivor. There are days when people come to me and say, you did so much, but I feel anyone in that place would have done it. So there are days I felt that I am just a survivor. But again, I think recently I had a dance performance, and on that day, just before going on stage, I couldn't believe I made it. I couldn't believe I got back to what I love the most, no matter what. So I think those kind of days, I feel like I fought it all, and yeah, and I'm doing so well. But definitely, I think I am really happy to have fought and come out of it. And I would say I am the second, the latter option that you.
A warrior, of course, you are one.
We are so proud of you. We are so proud to be, associated with you, having bonded over you. Not just that we treated you, got your, face back, and you've done amazingly well. But thank you so much for doing this for us as well as everybody who's listening to it. I'm sure you're a great source of inspiration, and you'll continue to be so in your life.
Thank you so much for having me, and I didn't think I would get emotional. I'm sorry about it.
You are an inspiration, and I'm sure you'll continue to be one for all the people across the globe, wherever you go. So from the team of Mukha Facial Surgery, we wish you all the best, and we always say, keep the smiles alive and ignite many more. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kirtana.
Vidhi, the podcast is dedicated to tales of healing and facilitators of health and well-being. This is a Mukha Facial Surgery initiative produced and brought to you by Dr Girish Rao and Mrs. Sujatha Girish. Podcast is hosted by Dr Sri Gauri and Dr Sai Swaroop. Thank you for listening.